Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to another recording of Magic the Gathering Arena. Today is Friday, May 22nd. Let's go ahead and re-roll this. And I think what I might want to do is see if I can get this to go full screen a different way. Because my start menu is messed up. Let's try that again. Let's bring up that. Yeah, that should be good enough. That should work now. So we're gonna try and move fairly fast. Want to see what is in the store because that's quick and easy. And at some point the store might actually change. So here we have an Ikra pack that's on sale for $750. We might as well get it, even though it's probably not a good deal. I kind of do want to start to wonder if maybe I am just going to get so ahead of the curve as far as new cards that getting skins actually starts to make some sense. We definitely aren't in that position right now. And then there was an interesting argument because these custom skins are the Godzilla skins. They seem to be animated by more of a Japanese animator, going in more of a comic book style, if you're not going to call it a Japanese anime style, at the very least. And it does introduce an interesting thought that probably would never be implemented on. Let's see, I don't think I could buy this anyways, because I already... no, I bought Anthology 2, so... we now need to save up for Anthology 3. But yeah, if you wanted to change Magic and say, let's start a new generation of Magic cards, you make the comic book style the new de facto default, or you make an anime style the new de facto default. And there is a decent argument with going with the anime style, just because that would save you some money as far as hiring artists. Right now, every time you get a card back, you're paying a Western artist who's used to getting paid quite a lot, when you could easily shortchange a Eastern artist. Doesn't have to be Japanese, it could be just anybody in Asia in general that draws an anime art style, and you could pay them way less. And since we kind of know Wizards of the Coast tends to be pretty greedy, I wouldn't be surprised if there was an idea that was embraced there. I also would assume that this Dungeons and Dragons art style, as it were, has been slowly changed in a lot of cases. Like, I imagine when you look at this compared to what an alpha card looks like, actually I have seen some alpha cards, so I know for a fact that this art style is way better than the alpha cards, and the alpha cards were more cartoony, so it wouldn't be insane to swing back in the other direction every couple years just to keep things fresh and kind of make the cards not match, so people are less encouraged to play older cards. Let's change Nicolo Bolas because I don't want to play as him. Have we ever played
Virtue will always
as
triumph.
this guy? Yeah, let's just play as him for a while. Half of these avatars I haven't really even looked at. We have a lot of news today, so I'm going to try and rush a little bit. And they have this festival thing that would give you skins for 2,500. Skins for cosmetics for historic cards. Doesn't seem like a good move. We can do Friday Night Magic, Historic Artisan, and there's still doing this premium draft promotion. I think if we look here, there's also a quick draft still available. The quick draft War of the Spark for 5,000 gold. That would be the one I would want to do if I could even afford it, but clearly I can't afford it, and it doesn't matter because we've already played 2 drafts this month anyways. So Friday Night Magic, let's hop in here, and our pick is either New Deck 6 or New Deck 7. We'll go with New Deck 6 and hope that that wins. And we just want to probably get some quick victories. If over anything else, just quick disconnect victories are absolutely what I'm looking for. So I've been playing for the accountability section. I've still been playing 9 doors, 9 hours, 9 lives, or however it is actually phrased, 999, the first of the non-horror game. It's a visual novel game with some escape the room puzzles that, now that I've seen 3 endings out of 7, and I've seen like every single path with some slight variations that seem to change here and there based on your previous actions in a playthrough. There are 2 out of the 3 final paths come around in such a way that it feels like you're you're given a rather difficult puzzle, and then you're given another puzzle in the same room, and then you're given another puzzle in the same room, then you're given another puzzle in the same room. And I'd say that rather difficult's probably not accurate. It's probably closer to say that they are medium level difficulty puzzles, but then a lot of the other puzzles in the game are super easy puzzles, so the medium difficulty ones then certainly do stand out as outliers. But the bigger issue, I would say, is the fact that you are kind of just constantly running into issues of the game putting too many puzzles in a room. It's a bigger theme in the game, certainly. There's 9 characters at the beginning of the game, if not 10 or 11. Hard to really even tell. And it's fairly easy that you could have merged half the characters into one person with twice as much personality. If there's a specific reason why you wanted 9 people, which I think there might be, there was definitely a way in which they could have just had several people trapped in some kind of Jigsaw death trap room, and you have to save them near the end of the game. That's how a lot of the Jigsaw movies worked, in particular, is that you would run into a room and there would be someone already trapped there, and that would work fairly well. But no, instead you very often get split up, and you very often have just one important conversation with each character. Maybe you can have 2 or 3 important conversations in an entire playthrough with each character. The rest of the story is just kind of ridiculous and long, and it really is scaring me away quite effectively from playing any other visual novels. And I would say the reason I wanted to go into this game is because it sold itself very much like it was a Jigsaw inspired like visual novel escape the room twist on the Saw movies, and it really isn't. You can pretty well be assured that nobody is gonna die because you played poorly until you get to the very end of the game. The game, in a weird way, probably would be better off if it had if it had like quick time events in it and just more gameplay, and if it broke up a lot of the puzzles so that there weren't so many back to back to back. But it really just doesn't turn out that way. And it's really getting hard as I'm trying to rush and skip through a lot of things. It does have some decent skip mode options, although skipping forward runs the risk of accidentally missing that one new sentence that you unlocked because you responded differently to the one prompt like an hour previous. But it is really hard to figure out what the theme is of this game and what the true story of this game. Unlike the Clue movies, where the story was pretty consistent right up to the reveal, and the reveals are fairly consistent still, that it's just people killing people in the Clue movie for their own personal selfish reasons. In 999, it seems like people get killed for almost completely different reasons by completely different people, that it really doesn't make any sense at all. Because your conversations or what room you went into seems to be changing the nature of reality a lot more than instead of your actions leading to a obvious reason that those things would happen. Alright.
I've learned a lot today.
Yeah, I've lost here. But yeah, fingers crossed we will get through 999. I doubt I'm going to play the sequel. Probably at best second Halloween in February I might cover the sequel, but maybe I don't even need to wait till Halloween to cover it. But I don't think these are 1.5 to 2 hour episodes, and they're gonna go long even at that. So yeah, and we're in the middle of the, I guess New Deck 7 would be newer, wouldn't it? We're in the middle of the spring cleaning event of Steam, which is going to reward you, I think, if you just install and play certain recommended games. So I'm going to just like install and play them for 5 minutes, and that's about it. But I don't want to be launching something while I still have 999 running in the background for fear of it crashing. It hasn't crashed at all yet, so that's nice. But it really is just not going anywhere fast. Nor is it really a game where I can sit back and relax. There's an interesting thought that perhaps if more visual novels went with the Telltale 3D animation style, that there would be a higher chance of visual novels being embraced by the West. We certainly did see that the Telltale games telling those more Western stories by Western writers did not really run into any kind of major pushback. Like, nobody was saying when The Walking Dead came out for Telltale that, oh no, this is just a visual novel and I hate visual novels and all visual novels suck. No, nobody was really making that argument as far as I ever heard. If anything, the mainstream video game media were more than happy to promote the Telltale games, and I think that's probably the bigger thing to point out and mention, is it is just kind of this consistent issue where the people who review games in the West, the video games journalists, just have a obvious unwillingness, and I think that falls down to the category of bias. They're just unwilling to cover Japanese games ever. The phrase anime poop, but poop spelled with an S, has been thrown around by a lot of video game journalists that I've heard talk about them. So anyways, we don't have anything else to really say. It's just getting rather grindy, and everything I could say about 999 would be a spoiler. There is an interesting thought. I just covered Uru, and in that footage I said, you know, if somebody was to go and watch just a full playthrough or all the cutscenes or read a synopsis of what happens in Uru, Cyan and the creators of Uru kind of are getting what they deserve, because Uru is such an unfun game to play. It's just such a nightmare mess that, yeah, I can't really agree I can't argue with anybody that would say, I just don't want to play it, I'll just watch somebody else play it. And even in that case, Uru, which was selling itself as a Myst-like puzzle game, wasn't very good, so it wasn't very fun to play. So I don't even know if there's any real enjoyment other than just a small satisfaction of knowing what happens for if you were to watch all of the gameplay of Uru. And that's a sad statement, since I covered it, because one would have hoped I would promote people to actually watch it and watch that footage. Okay. Attack. Go ahead and resolve that. Go ahead and resolve that. So, what I don't want to have happen today is for me to have too many, if any, games left over. So I'm gonna try and do something here. Oh, darn it! Exiles it completely, doesn't it? Oh.
See you later.
This prevents all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you or any other permanents you control, which I think means that if I was to do this and attack this, that wouldn't work. Unfortunately. Okay. Mutate on top of this guy. Over. Let's put a green in. Playing in a green. Mutate this on top of this. And over. Whenever your creature mutates, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Sure. That wasn't useful. Let's see. So moving on with the news, Microsoft announces a 2020 Special Olympics Xbox virtual gaming event, which I don't know if that means they're really going to stream Special Olympics footage or not. The event will be live streamed across Mixer, Xbox, YouTube, and Twitch. Special athletes will compete and race on Forza Motorsports tracks for a crown to crown a winner. So, special events people will be playing the video game. Okay, that makes some sense. Tech Raptor has an article here. We might see the canceled Half-Life 2 Episode 4 next week. Did it ever get up to a Half-Life 2 Episode 3? This would have been a game, I think, that was made by Arcane Studio between 2006 and 2007. Let's see. Let's see. Half-Life 3 Episode 3. I don't know if that ever came out and Gearbox Software made Half-Life Opposing Force. So, yeah. It's kind of questionable. I did see this screenshot from a documentary channel called No Clip on YouTube, and this character did look weird, but it didn't strike me as this being guaranteed to be from the Half-Life universe. I don't recognize this as a particular character. But yeah, No Clip is going to be talking about like all their games, pretty much. This creature does X damage, where X is the number of times this creature is mutated. Well, that's useless. And I've lost. So yeah, there's some slight speculation that there might be something released. Steam Workshop support also came out for Half-Life Alyx, which that's an interesting thing, and certainly something you would want to see more on day one, but it's fine that it's coming out now, I imagine. I don't think people really care that much. So, yeah. But as far as Valve and its games, Valve still is kind of in a weird position. Maybe they saved some face by relieving Half-Life Alyx and it being well received, but then the hype cycle really could not live for very long, considering it was VR only. The thing that they needed to do is just say, hey, we're going to put a non-VR version of this game out, even if it's going to be an inferior version in our opinion. And they don't want to do that. So then that just kind of throws it back into Valve's court as far as Artifact. And in the end of the day, I don't know how Valve can do anything without looking a little silly for the next decade, because they spent the last decade basically not making any games at all, or not successfully creating any games at all. The thing I guess Valve could do is they could do like Microsoft has done and just acquire companies that are close to or just about already done with releasing a game. And then, for instance, a like indie game company could say, well, that's now a Valve game, and we now have that talent pool of this company, and they will continue to make games. If Valve could really get 2 or 3 games to come out over the course of one whole year, that would be one way to like reestablish them and say Valve is back to making games. But it really is just a corporate culture problem from the top. So even if Gabe Newell did say, hey, let's acquire Arcane Studios or Gearbox Software or any company like that, unless those companies are just wholly owned subsidiaries that are running themselves, I don't see how any employees at Gearbox or Arcane Studios wouldn't get integrated into the lackadaisical attitude that Valve employees have. So, yeah. Honestly, I think the best thing that could happen is Gabe Newell probably needs to step down. A new leader needs to step up. And then all the other shareholders need to either be made silent partners who no longer work at the company, or be bought out or something like that. Because it's not Gabe Newell. Gabe Newell, I don't think cares. I don't think he cares one way or the other. I think it's the other employees that own stock that are causing things to not get finished. That they're throwing around their weight effectively and creating a bad environment for that's unconductive to producing anything. Anyways, moving on, we have a game on Steam called Crumbling World. It's a little red here, a lot of red. Kind of looks like it's a RPG game, almost like a Diablo dungeon crawler game, but then the paths seem fairly linear. Let's see, 25 seamless diorama-like levels. That seems low effort. $10.99, English full audio. I'm not sure that there's anything here that I like. Yeah, this looks bad. This doesn't look like it's worth $10. So I'm not gonna put it on the fault list because it was thoroughly unimpressive. TechRaptor has an article. The Steam Spring Cleaning event can net you a cool badge, so they can kind of explain it. So There's several things you need to do. Play next. A list of 3 games the Steam algorithm thinks you loves to check out. This should be K here. My Lucky Day, another group of 3 games chosen at random from your account. An Old Flame is 3 games to check out that you used to play a lot but haven't touched in a while. Time Machine, a reminder of the first, second, and third game that you've ever owned on your Steam account. I don't believe that is accurate, because, but I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at that. Trusted Human Friend, play 1 of 3 games recommended by your friends. A list of 3 games with remote play together functionality. Now I assume you still just have to play those games. You don't have to actually implement the remote play functionality in any way. Because if you did, that would kinda suck. And then the last one, suggestion of 3 of your newly acquired games that the Steam algorithm thinks you'd love. So they want you just to launch each of those games and you'll get a badge, and that's it. It seems like the spring cleaning event in particular is really trying not to apparently have no basic lands. There's a basic land, didn't want to load. Yeah, for the past 3 years it feels like at least the spring cleaning events have not really tried to sell you any new games, and that's nice, I suppose. It would be a little bit nicer if they didn't have a like October sale, then a November sale, then a December sale, all the back to back. If they got rid of like the October sale, or tried to in some way merge those together, the Black Friday sale is the Christmas sale, and just have the Black Friday, October, and the November sale all merged as one long sale. That might be an interesting thing to do this week, in particular, this year in particular, is to say, hey, we're just going to have games on sale for an entire 2 to 3 months. Let's see. Mutate this. I guess I can just put this on over. And this would do 2 damage. Let's just go ahead and activate this ability. And activate this ability. And kill this. And then we'll just, I guess, attack with everything. Okay, +1/+1. There we go, we've got our concession. So we got a victory. They did a new update. It took a lot of download again for MTG Arena, but it does seem like you can now click view the battlefield and look at what you're looking at. Come on. Interesting sound effect. I have run into a problem that has become a growing problem with MTG Arena, in the fact that when I say I'm going to play it offline, very often we just get into loading screens that are stuck, and my keyboard is on like a side table on the far left side of my room. I'm often playing in my bed, which is on the far right side of my room. So at that point, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm not willing to get up, get the keyboard, hit Control-Alt-Delete, crash out to the Magic Arena and reload it. So there have been 2 or 3 times in the past couple of weeks where I've wanted to get 15 wins and it just hasn't happened. Instead, I've just fallen asleep. So yeah, inevitably I am falling behind on the victories that I should be getting, but it's kind of not so much my fault. It's only maybe a small part my fault. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article here. Wholesome Direct 2020 Cute and Cozy Game Showcase is set for May 26th. It's a 37-minute broadcast featuring over 50 independent games. And this sounds like a Japanese company, but I don't think it is. Cute, cozy, and heartfelt. It's an interesting idea, certainly. The idea of 50 independent games that are trying to sell themselves as kid-friendly. Although I think there's dangers, certainly. Certainly some dangers out there that games try to sell themselves as family-friendly and they're still not family-friendly enough. And there's plenty of scammers out there that try to sell their games as family friendly and really they aren't family friendly at all. Right. Got attack with that. So I'm gonna put that here. Go ahead and attack here, and he'll probably let me through. Why does this Minter ability not work? It has to be an attacking creature. Okay. I see. I made a mistake here. TechRaptor has an article. Borderlands 3 Bounty of Blood DLC features a samurai cowgirl, which sounds more like a sex position than a description of a person, but okay. She looks different, I guess, and different is what you want. There's a shift code here right in the description of it, so check out TechRaptor if you want the shift code. And shift codes happen all the time though, and they tend not to really give you anything of real value. Interesting. A Minter ability on this. And then this would do 1 damage to that guy, which I don't want to do. Yeah. What is that? Redeem. Whatever that shift code was. It looks like it was like 3 golden keys. Is all it was, but that's certainly more golden keys the better. Unfortunately, Borderlands 3 has just really failed to bring back its audience. Like, Randy Pitchford just ruined it, the Epic exclusive just ruined it. Timing honestly couldn't have been much better with all of this home staying, but yeah, there's something really accounting for negative press, and you just can't pull the shenanigans that Randy Pitchford pulled and expect to be let's see. This could now do 2 damage. Or we can just attack and attack, and he'll just concede. And it's a shame, and I think at some point I probably will get Borderlands 3. Like, we are now far away from any, like, release window. But I still have the pre-sequel to play, and the pre-sequel probably didn't help it much either. You need to play blue or red spells and attack with creatures for this daily quest. So let's go back to arena play modes, and then regular play, and then let's see, do we have a red test deck? Yeah, we'll try the red test deck. But then we want to get through this daily quest quickly and see if maybe, just maybe, we could get up in ranked, but probably we can't. Next we have a game on Steam called Space Team VR, which seems like it's a VR game where people are supposed to work together, kind of like Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, but a bigger group, and or at least being capable to have more of a group. And it seems like the puzzles and the control panels are a little bit more simplistic, so it's probably not as much of a puzzle as it is just kind of a silly game. So this would be $19.99. It does say it has single player. It does require VR though still, so you're gonna have to have 6 or 7 people with VR headsets. And it says it's English and full audio. Yeah. I don't inherently hate the idea. I just don't think it's gonna work. What does this guy do? Each permanent card in your starting deck. Blah, blah. The effect can't reduce the mana. This reduces the cost of things when played. Okay. So maybe that'll help as a companion. Next we have a game called Ember, EMBR, on Steam. It's already rated positively. This is the play as a fireman, silly simulation game that definitely has caught my eye. It's early access right now. It's $15.99, English full audio with several other languages. It deserves to be on the follow list. We may find out after a while that it loses its relevancy, or it was never relevant in the first place. We may find out that the game is not that long or that good. Speaking of not that long or that good, Minecraft Dungeons is coming out pretty soon, and by all accounts, it's not good at all. It's just not quality. And yeah, that stinks, certainly. That's not what you want to hear, that the next Minecraft game or the next game in the Minecraft series is really, really short and really, really bad. One assumes that Minecraft Story Mode is not going to continue to be made, and Minecraft in its Bedrock Edition and its Java Edition will continue to get upgrades, but there probably will never be a Minecraft 2 or anything like that. Let's see. Create a X1 creature token with Trample and Haste. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. There's a card that skips your end step that would synergize with this quite nice. Deals twice X damage to target creature or planeswalker. Interesting. So yeah, the idea was, or at least it seemed like Minecraft Dungeons would be a half kid-friendly Diablo game with Minecraft gameplay mechanics, but it seems like there's literally no crafting in it at all. So that puts you in a weird position. That doesn't really make a lot of sense to play something called Minecraft where there seemingly seems to be no mining nor any crafting. And it kind of feels like that they just slapped the Minecraft name on some game that had already been made, possibly made by some third-party unmentioned company. Speaking of slapping a name on, man, I keep making the exact same connections, same phrases. There is a adult game from Nutaku called College Life that I think is new as of like last week, and I installed it, and it is a lot like the game I played several years ago called Adventure Town, except for it has adult content in it, or The Simpsons Tapped Out might be a good example of that too, but The Simpsons Tapped Out was particularly greedy, and College Town might be a little bit greedy, but I don't think it really is. The problem with all of these adult games is it really is just going to be dialogue and kind of nothing else. Like, you're not going to end up with a ton of visuals in a game like that, and the vast majority of your time you're just kind of playing a game that sometimes will show a small bit of nudity and have some sexual dialogue, and that's pretty much all you're getting with College Life. But it doesn't feel as cheap or as bad as the dungeon crawler game I tried out before. So I will report that it seems like they might be getting a little bit better. It's still no Destiny Child by any means. Destiny Child is still being a great game. Like, every time I think about it, it's like, yeah, this game works. It really, really works. For some crazy reason. Number of lands I have. Does this guy have an ability? I could have tapped him and had him not block. So, yeah. TechRaptor has an article here. A new Batman game is rumored to arrive late 2020, possibly early 2021. I doubt it's going to be late 2020. If it's based around the Court of Owls storyline, that's kind of been done for the past couple of years. So that's an issue too. Yeah. They do need to throw out a new Batman game and try to get people to forget about how terrible the previous Batman game is. They do need to set themselves down a path of something new. They need to try and compete now over a year late with the Spider-Man game that came out. I wouldn't be surprised if they're running into a risk of a new Spider-Man movie coming out and a new Spider-Man game coming out to synchronize with a new Spider-Man movie. So yeah, WB needs to do something there and keep their Batman titles going. Otherwise, WB is going to be in a bad position. Right. With token. Okay. So I'm going to do 5 or 6. So let's see, can we do 5 and then auto pay? Yes. So we attack here, we attack here, and we can attack here for what anybody cares. And that should win the game for us. Yeah, it'd be kind of hard to see that it didn't. Steam has a game called Monster Train, which looks like it's almost like a weirdly card-based game. I thought it was a tower simulation game for a brief second there. This game is just too zoomed out for its graphics. It looks blurry. It doesn't look good. The cards look alright, but the interface seems to have some problems. And I imagine... And so I guess you're just going up a tower fighting monsters. Strategic roguelike deck building game with a twist. Set on a train to hell. It's like taking the idea of Snowpiercer, I guess, and stealing that idea too. Well, this is rated very positively. It's $22.49. It's single player and online PvP, English full audio. I'm gonna have to put this on the follow list. It doesn't look good to me, but it does oddly seem to have a large amount of people who have rated it positively. So either we've got a lack of security that has popped up as far as the credibility of reviews on Steam, or it actually is a good game somehow. See. Next we have a game on Steam called Shadow Arena, which is mixed and seems like it's kind of one of these Chinese almost vertical slice test demos. This does not look bad in the animation, and we see a lot of Chinese games like that where they did the first few steps to make something that they were going to try and sell as an MMO and didn't really finish it. This is early access. It's free to play. It has a $71.99 DLC. It's English and Korean, so I was wrong about it being Chinese, I guess. Yeah. I don't think that's going anywhere at that price. $71 really is way too expensive for even a AAA game, let alone one that is not a AAA game. TechRaptor has an article. The World of Warships producer is discusses working with Warhammer 40k. So this is an interview. Looks like TechRaptor is doing more interviews these days, probably because there's just no video game news to talk about. Let's see. Just do 2 damage to that. Steam has Sword Art Online, Alice Asian, and Lycoris available for pre-order. It's a JRPG based on the Sword Art Online anime series, which, like, different seasons seem to vastly change the story, the characters, and basically everything here. This is coming soon, so I guess I can put it on the fall list, but Bandai Namco, right, as the publisher. not a guaranteed good producer of games. Guess we can put this on the field. Like, a lot of these Sword Art Online games have not been amazingly good. Next, we have a game on Steam called Hedera. Like, this looks like a horror game with almost an RPG maker, but pixely looking graphics. Story-driven 2D horror game about dealing with the trauma through drama, dreams, and video games. $2.99. English, Russian, Spain, Spanish, Latin America, Spanish. Do I want to give this a chance? Am I gonna run out of horror games to the point where I'd want to play something like this? I think the answer is probably no. This is the kind of game that maybe some YouTuber would stream it, maybe it would get some kind of cult following, and at that point it would become like a hidden gem, but more than likely it will just be never noticed like the hundreds of other games like it. Alright. There goes my companion. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Space Haven, which is tagged as a base building sci-fi game. Looks like it has pixel graphics also. You're building a base in the form of a spaceship. That might be slightly interesting. Like, normally I wouldn't want to play a base building game, but that does kind of seem like that would change some things up. Its early access is $20.69. Yeah, I'll put it on the follow list, but it's probably priced itself too much. Like, a game like this would have to come out and really get down to $5 before I'd start to think about it, really. This would do 3 damage. Or 4 damage. Next we have a game on Steam called Observation, which feels like it's being made by some of the other games, space-like puzzle games out there, but this actually looks better designed than, like, Tacoma, I think, was one of them that I haven't covered, but I have covered several of them, and they've all turned out to be a little weird. Like the Turing test is another example. Well, this is already on my following list. It's $12.49. Yeah, they're saying it's something between the Turing test and Alan Wake. It says it's English full audio, and I believe it in that case. Again, kind of questionable, like, if Devolver Digital is publishing it. Like, half of the games they make are good, half of the games seem to be a little bit weird. Destroy target artifact. Let's go ahead and activate this ability. We don't need that. Probably don't need that either. Yeah, and they just have it listed between all the Devolver Digital games that have come out. So, you just never really know. There's a lot here. Like Ape Out. Why is that not even on the follow list? Should be. I should probably want to play Ape Out. Interesting. Interesting little overlook there, but yeah. A lot of the Devolver Digital games I think probably would be better off Unpredictable Cyclone. rotate on this guy. Over. And can we play this? No. We could play this and then cycle to later. So you're just gonna just block there. Interesting choice, but whatever. Next, we have a game on Steam called Rover Mechanic Simulator Training Day, which this feels like this is probably just like Unity assets made by somebody else being flipped. But this does look fairly nicely polished too. I don't know. It's a free-to-play game, so I guess the price is right. And it's an advertisement for Rover Mechanic Simulator in general. So if we went and looked at this game, it's rated very positively and it's in early access. So I'll put the actual game on the fall list and then choose not to play the demo. I think that's the way. It's the best way to do it. There's this Twitter hashtag fad going on right now where people are redrawing Sailor Moon in different art styles or inspired by other elements. It's interesting, certainly. People I don't think will ever really completely forget about Sailor Moon. I don't think it really should. Right. So I don't want to read what this really does. So I'm just gonna hope that this works well. And yes. And yes. And attack. Gamatsu has an article here. The Kiss trilogy for PlayStation 4 has been delayed to August 27th in Japan. So it was coming out June 25th. This looks like it's a visual novel. Yeah, it's Giga developed romance visual novel. Kiss trilogy. Okay. Yeah. I don't know what more to really take from that. So I want to kill this. Or do I want to kill this? X damage to this. Well, that killed me. The real question, I guess, will become, will be, did I just get enough things done? Did I play enough cards? There's a beginning of a deck here, though. Maybe not a solid red deck, but there is a beginning of a deck that would actually work. Okay, that's all we needed to do. And we've been given a cosmetic, for better or for worse. Let's just play standard rank now and see if we win. Gamatsu has an article here. E-School Life for the PlayStation 4 and Switch delayed to July 30th. from June 25th, so that's a month delay. So yeah, the Japanese game developers and publishers, those who were going to publish anything in the first place, in the next few months, are starting to admit that they have to actually delay things. Steam has a game here called Kinda Heroes, the cutest RPG. There's a visual polish to this idea. I don't know if this is a actual RPG game or if this is more of just a dungeon crawler set in a forest or an idle game. But I kind of like the art style as being a little bit different. Nothing here looks terrible. Kind of looks like maybe it was designed to be played on a tablet or a really long phone. I guess as phones get longer, there's going to be something more interesting that happens to those types of games as they're being developed. Certainly a lot of apps that I have on my phone these days tend not to want to support the resolution or the length of my phone. But yeah, Kinda Heroes doesn't look absolutely horrible, so I'll put it on the follow list. Just throw it right back out there. Gamatsu has an article. Sea of Thieves for PC is coming to Steam on June 30th, which is interesting in theory and completely boring in practicality, because I had no real desire to play Sea of Thieves when it originally came out, and I have like no more desire even now to play Sea of Thieves. This is clearly like the last death knell of Sea of Thieves, and Microsoft's just trying to make as much money as they possibly can from that failed startup franchise. Let's see, play this. I literally don't have to do anything here. I can just end my turn for a couple turns until I get one more land, and I've probably won. Gamatsu has an article here. Valorant launches June 2nd as a free-to-play shooter. I think part of the problem with Valorant they may find is that it just doesn't seem like it's going to have a mobile client fast enough. I think nowadays you kind of need both a PC client and a mobile client, and probably wouldn't do too bad to be on the Switch and the Xbox and the PlayStation all on day one also, with cross-play enabled across those networks. Yep. Okay. Play another one of these. And can't tap the guy, so we'll just end our turn again. Next we have a game on Steam called Vacation Adventures Park Ranger 10, which is a hidden object game. I haven't been seeing a lot of hidden object games, but this one doesn't look terrible. Kind of feels like it's a little kid friendly, plus it's $4.99, so unless it was really terrible quality, you're actually getting a way better discount than buying a Big Fish game. Let's see if we can. Vacation Adventure Park Ranger 1 has 4 user reviews from January 11th, 2019. So it seems to me like they're flooding the Steam market with these games. And by the looks of it, it seems like none of them have gotten any reviews at all. So that really sucks for them. Let's see. Next we have a game called whatever that is. Just a bunch of Asian letters. VR1. This anime character, I think I've seen her before. So, yeah. She looks like she's at best in middle school, probably in elementary school, if I was to guess. And it seems like you kind of just hang out with her. This might very well be tied into... Yeah, it's based on Teasing Master Takagi-san. Yeah, this is the one that likes to tease the other boy in his class and make fun of him. Yeah. So, yeah. You're getting like a direct tie-in advertisement to an anime. English language not supported, requires VR, and it's $12.59. So I guess I could put this on the follow list, but it would be kind of pointless to do so. As an actual game, as just like you're gonna get to hang around with this anime character and pretend like you're living the anime life. It looks nicely animated. It looks fine. It's probably about 20 minutes of entertainment, though. So, yeah, I don't really think there's anything that's really that important there at all that you would really want to buy it, even if you were a big fan of that anime. I'd also argue that that anime and a lot of animes are not guaranteed to make it all the way towards the end of a series or a final story. They often just then assume that they'll do one season and then make the assumption that you have access and the ability to go read the manga, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, depending on whether the manga actually was translated into English and is accessible. Moving on, next we have a game called Sakura Stars, which is a really small resolution pixely bullet hell shooter fighting against Oni, or demons, in loincloths. It looks weird. It definitely looks weird, and it definitely feels like this is probably just a low effort attempt at something. It's $2.99. It's English only. I don't even know. They say the game was made on the Pico 8, a retro fantasy console with purposeful limitations and low resolution to simulate an 8-bit era. Well, if it was made for the Pico 8, then why are you selling it on Steam? Probably because nobody bought the Pico 8 and they couldn't make any money on it. There's a lot of homebrew, do-it-yourself screens, game consoles out there. None of them are really worth mentioning at all because of the extremely low resolution or extremely low audio abilities or the extremely low input abilities, because it's just not like USB controller support. Just a ton of things wrong with the idea that it only makes sense maybe if you were a 10-year-old learning to program your first game. Maybe you would use something like the Pico as a way of doing that, but I'm not sure even then that's the right path to go down, because it's just such a limited process. See. Next we have a game on Steam, Bubble Tea, a game for thinking and imagination. Seems like this is probably just an RPG Maker game trying to sell on the bubble tea craze, which is like really late to the party also. This is free to play with a $5 DLC, and it's English and Thai. So yeah, maybe the Thai people simply are just late to the party as far as making a game around boba tea, bubble tea. Alright, we'll play that again since he did that. And then we'll do this. And we'll bring back this. And then we'll do this. And then we'll do this. Okay. Can't do anything here. So what I'm going to do is attack here, 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 and here. And we'll see what happens. And while we wait to see what this happens, we have a game on Steam called War Remains. Dan Carlin presents an immersive memory, and this is mixed. I have no idea who Dan Carlin is. Hardcore history, legendary podcaster. Okay. Yep. So, $4.99 for this VR game, English full audio, based on somebody who's somewhat famous. I think no, not particularly with the mixed reviews. And frankly, I don't think I would want a VR experience of what was going on in World War I or World War II or any war setting at all. So that really doesn't feel like an experience I would be happy to have. Yeah, that's not really a welcome experience at all. Gamatsu has an article here for the Switch. Journey to the Savage Planet is now available. Which I guess is a game that's been out for a while. But I think I've completely forgotten about it. You're shooting bug monsters. Doesn't look terrible. Yeah, this came out and I totally forgot about it. Let's see. It launched on the Xbox One PC via the Epic Games Store January 28th. Ah, that explains everything, doesn't it? It's been stuck behind the Epic Games Store exclusivity, and that's why I forgot about it. Because why would I pay attention to a game that was only being sold at the Epic Games Store? Oh, well, he's killed himself. So we can just go ahead and take our victory now. Let's click View Battlefield. Leave match. Okay. So it seems like you can just view the battlefield now. That's very helpful. Gamasutra has an article here. EA is releasing the source code for Command & Conquer, Red Alert, and Tiberian Dawn. That's great. I imagine most people already could have reverse engineered it anyways, but releasing it under the GNU public license, version 3, is interesting. At the end of the day, I don't know if that really is going to make it any easier for anybody to make a real-time strategy game in something like Unity or Unreal. I don't know why you would make a real-time strategy game in Unreal, but it would be an interesting attempt at least. But yeah, if anything, releasing the source code just makes it easier for emulator developers to potentially make an emulator that could run those games better, because I bet they don't really run that well these days, and I bet EA doesn't really want to do anything with the Command & Conquer series, so this is probably a fine solution for them to have people stop bugging them to fix or remaster or re-release the Command & Conquer series. It also might be a way of EA testing the water to see if there actually would be enough of a fandom to want to go back and play the Command & Conquer series. And now is not a bad time for them to test that, because there's still enough Activision Blizzard hate out there, I imagine, to convince people to stop playing StarCraft or Warcraft. Oh. Let's see. Here's a quote from this article. After discussing with the community council members, we made the decision to go with GPL license to ensure compatibility with the projects like CNC Net and OpenRA. Our goal is to deliver the source code in a way that would be truly beneficial for the community, and we hope it will be enable amazing community projects from years to come. When it comes to unearthing user content, Steam players will be able to share maps and mods via Steam Workshop. Alternatively, they'll be able to subscribe to maps and mods from within the Steam Community Hub, or by utilizing in-game menus to browse and download content. Players on EA Origins storefront will be able to follow the same in-game process to download community-made maps, but will need to manually install mods into the respective folder outside of the game. So, yeah, they are setting themselves up to have the community make content, because EA is not going to make content. But it's better than nothing by far. Gamatsu has an article here. Moero Crystal H is coming to the West in 2020 for the Switch. So, an anime slightly lewd game is coming to the Switch. And I don't know if this would be YouTube family friendly, so I'm gonna not show that video, but I'll tell you what happens. That's about as much as I can do. Yeah, immediately the trailer zoomed right into the upper thighs of one of the anime girls. And yeah, they are zooming directly into the crotch of the anime girls. Although they're not naked, but it is showing the pantsuit, the underwear. And they are in high fashion clothing with a lot of leg and shoulder and arms showing. Up, and then it jumped to an image where they were basically naked, and then it jumped to an image after that where they were basically in just bra and panties. So yeah, slightly nude was an understatement. Yeah, it is gonna be a weird world, certainly for Switch. Eventually somebody's gonna have to make that YouTube video at some point, like reviewing all the adult games that are available on the Switch. Or I found a list of 100 adult games for on your kid's game console. But I guess other people have better things to report on nowadays at the moment than getting hysterical over adult games being sold on the Switch. I'm just gonna decline that. I could kill this guy, but I probably don't benefit as much as I should from that. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc Anniversary Edition is now available for iOS and Android. So I think this is probably a remaster of the original JRPG game. Yeah. So there is this idea, certainly, of taking a... Is this really a RPG game? thought this was an RPG game, but almost feels like a visual novel or something. Or almost like a rhythm game even. Yeah, it seems kind of like a rhythm game more than anything. But yeah, it will be interesting if we start to see JRPGs show up on cell phones. That's probably the place where most Japanese audiences would want to play it. And it does make sense even to the rest of the world to play these long-running JRPG style games in a small increments during a commute or during the 5 minutes that you might have free time. Alright. Let's go ahead and kill that. That is way more dangerous. Next game we have on Steam is called Nari Rising Tide Prologue. I like the animation of this. It looks like they're calling it an adventure free-to-play game for this like DLC or this demo. But honestly, again, it's just a demo, so I'm just gonna put the real game on the follow list instead. Let's see. Apparently, also, this is the second game in the series, so let's see what the first game is. The Art of Nari, Double Kick Heroes. The first game is called Nari Tower of Shiren. And it's rated very positively. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's a little adventure game. Looks like it's trying to be cutesy and kid friendly. I'm not seeing anything that I hate in that. Next we have a game on Steam called Immortal Legacy, the Jade Cipher, and it's mixed already. I feel like there was another game called Jade something, but I guess they're not related. Seems like it's probably just a very nicely animated but very short first-person shooter game. Or maybe this is like a demo. Let's see what the mixed reviews are, because this actually does kind of look like a AA game or a AAA game even. So I'm confused as to the mixed reviews. There's 0 reviews in my language, and there's a bunch of negative reviews in an Asian language. I see the word bug, and I see the word bug. So I don't know what's really going on with this. So I guess I have to put Immortal Legacy to Jade Cipher on the fall list. There's just nothing that I'm getting that tells me that this should be rated mixed. This actually looks rather good, rather polished. Maybe it is just 5 minutes of content, but who knows. 4 damage. We're gonna have to sacrifice this guy instead. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Angels of Death Episode Yeti, which seems like a low effort JRPG Chinese game. RPG Maker Chinese game from the looks of it. $6.99 English, Japanese, Chinese, and Korean, so take your pick as to who actually made this game, but yeah, it's not impressive visually. I think the spring cleaning event might be a great time. I don't have time to do it right now, but it might be a great time going forward to do a follow list cleanup or wish list cleanup, and maybe even just stream that live and make that content not something that gets released as episodic content or extra content. But yeah, that would take too much time, and I wouldn't be able to do it. It would require me to sit in a chair for a good 10 to maybe even over 24 hours, and that's just not realistic. It takes at least an hour to go through each letter of the alphabet when doing a cleanup video. The next game we have is tagged as having sexual content and nudity, so let me just make sure all the screenshots are YouTube family friendly. It seems like the adult games, scam games are back. We have a game here on Steam called Design Girl Team, which seems like it's a soccer team with some asset flipped anime girls, and they seem like they just kind of dance around and kick at parts. See, they're just showing off them dancing on a stage more than anything else. This is 59 cents. If anything, we've seen this exact same thing several times before. It's just the same asset flip. It's English and Chinese. So yeah, seems like some quality control may have been lowered at Valve, or they just finally had enough adult games that they started to let a few through.
What is my strategy here?
Next, we have a game on Steam called Metal Infinite, and a bunch of Asian letters. It probably means Metal Infinite. It looks like a cell phone game from these buttons. And yeah, I'm not seeing anything. Early access, English is not supported, $1.59, Chinese only. Yep, nothing there of quality to make it deserve the follow list. Next, we have a game on Steam called Starina, which is what? Seems like you're building and controlling robots. Doesn't seem like you're doing much more than that. There's voxel art, which I don't think voxels ever looked good. If I could just get one more land, then maybe I could pull this around. But my health is particularly low, so it would be a dangerous attempt here to win. Yep, I don't see anything as far as Starina that catches my attention. It's $13.49, English and Chinese, so I'm not going to put it on the list. See, Gamatsu has an article, Shadowverse Champions Battle, trademarked in US and Europe, a card battle RPG seemingly being headed to the West. Okay. I think I've heard of something called Shadowverse. We may have even talked about something called Shadowverse earlier today. I'm gonna go ahead and eat this, get my health back up. Next game we have is tagged with sexual content, and the video does seem to implore quite a few screenshots that look lewd, to say the least. So here we have a game called Midsummer, and you have this girl either tied up in the back of your car or ducking down, and then you have a girl just hiding behind a curtain in like a nurse's area or doctor's area. Then you have a girl that is facing the other direction, kind of provocatively. Same here, too. Let's see, and then some more kind of badly drawn faces, and then a girl lying down. So clearly this is all about showing you girls, and no dialogue there. They say it's an interactive independent puzzle game. You need to find the puzzle to complete the level to unlock the beautiful picture. Come and have fun with the girls. This is rated mostly positive. It's 99 cents, and it's English and Chinese, and yeah. I don't think there's a real game there. It's very low effort by the looks of it. Yeah, at a certain point I guess you need to ask yourself, are you approaching a game because you want an adult imagery or adult story, or are you approaching a game because you want to play a game? Because if you want adult imagery or an adult story, there are better venues to get that, cheaper venues to get that. Next on Steam we have a game called The Persistence, which looks like it's a VR game. It looks like there's just a bunch of concept art screenshots here instead of a real game screenshots. Is it a first-person shooter game with zombies in space? Okay. So this is $26.99, which makes it too expensive, and it's VR only. It's English full audio with a bunch of other languages in the interface support. It's too expensive, unfortunately. And not quite good enough to even open the question about whether it would be worth that price. Gamatsu has an article. Baroque original version is coming to the Switch in 2020 in Japan. A string to port of the 1998 released first-person action game. I don't know if Baroque ever came to the West. And a lot of these games are Nintendo eShop games, certainly. It was originally for the Sega Saturn, and then it was ported to the PlayStation in 1999. And a remake was released for the PS2 and Wii in 2007 and 2008. So Baroque sounds like it's been remastered quite a few times, and yet I still don't immediately recognize it. Next we have a game on Steam called Old Gods Rising, which says it's a Lovecraftian adventure first person. Graphics look a little rough, but it's still pretty. I guess the question is, are there other people that you interact with, or is this kind of like a Myst game where you just wander around an empty world? It kind of looks like it's more of a Myst game where you wander around an empty world. Not a terrible thought though, so I'll put it on the fall list. Like, if there was a Myst game with a Lovecraftian twist, that would be fine. It has English full audio, allegedly. Yeah, Old Gods Rising. Might be terrible, might be good. We'll wait until the reviews come in. Let's see. Well, we can play this. And then all of a sudden we have a reason to attack with this. Next we have a game on Steam that's just a bunch of Asian letters. It's rated very positively. It looks like it's a Toho game. And what kind of Toho game is it? It says it's a massive multiplayer card-based Toho game. Okay. but English is not supported. It's $8.99. Has Japanese full audio and Chinese subtitles, interface and subtitles. Yeah, this might be the thing that convinces me just not to bother to play any of the Toho games, in the fact that there is just seemingly a large amount of them that are not translated, and they seem to be so widely different in quality and style of gameplay that it doesn't make a lot of sense to even go down that path. Let's see if this works, and while we wait, we have a game on Steam here called Vetrix that kind of looks like a grayscale, greenscale Game Boy, but it's Tetris with a foreground and a background layer, which is kind of interesting. And it seems like you're building squares more than entire blocks. It seems like there are some different overlay looks, ways to animate it. I kind of wish there was a way to animate it so it looked good though, instead of just being a bunch of different color palettes. It's VR, it's $5.39, and it's English only. I think this might deserve a follow, even though I'll probably never get a VR headset. Like, they're not asking a lot, and Tetris is Tetris, so you kind of know what you're getting into. See, next we have a game on Steam called Timeline. Timeline, L-I-E, not Timeline. It's a time manipulation game. Let's see. Okay. Looks like it's an isometric kind of stealth puzzle game with time manipulation. That might not be bad. Put it on the follow list. It's rated very positively already. Does it have enough people on it to just go ahead and put it on the wish list, I guess? $17.99 is too expensive, but yeah, if it comes down to like $5, I think Timeline would be reasonable in that amount. Just trying to burn through all of this content as fast as possible. And of course it's Friday, so nobody's going to jump on the channel on Friday. Unfortunately. Suppose there might be an argument to just straight up start streaming on Saturday instead of Friday. I'd have to think long and hard about that. But might be interesting. Might be an interesting thought to change things up a little bit. Anyways, we have a game on Steam here called Karma Knight, which looks like it is a kind of hack and slash game with some maybe Metroidvania elements and some platforming elements. So it looks nicely polished. So I'll put this on the follow list and we'll see what happens. $13.49, English, Japanese, and Korean. Karma Knight. Not looking bad. You know, I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I don't know what Bashoujo Battle would mean. Bashoujo is a type of anime girl, but I've forgotten what that means. This is tagged with sexual content and nudity again, but it's a Mahjong solitaire game. It's a low effort game, obviously. Yeah, this is a bunch of anime girls or anime monsters who all have guns or part or half battleship, naval battleship. Yep. This game is selling for $2.54 and it's English and Japanese. Yeah. I think Bishoujo might translate to slightly violent girl as a character type. A little bit aggressive. Finally. Taking forever. Submit that. And then submit that. So now I've got to turn this thing around. I've got to start eating all this food and playing Bowl of Citadel. Next we have a game on Steam, Lucky and a Life Worth Living, a jigsaw puzzle. So here's a great example. Let's see if we can view what happened here. The royal signs deal damage to a target equal to the number of cards in their hand. So he drew 4 cards and then he did damage to me. Yeah, quite a bit. So yeah, I gave him a lot of opportunity to win there simply because I did not have mana. Anyways, this jigsaw puzzle. We're starting to see more of these jigsaw puzzles, more low effort games. None of them too excessive. This one's $1.39. It doesn't look terrible, but there's really no reason why you should spend even that much. At a certain point, I guess you do run into the actual cost of buying a real world jigsaw puzzle, and it might be cheaper to buy them digitally. But, man, boy, would you be scraping the bottom of the barrel if you were to do that. It's not a smart investment, in my opinion. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article. The IGDA debuts standards and a reporting system to curb bad industry behavior. This would be the International Game Developers Association. And so basically they're saying you have to do credit your creators, not have so much crunch and management abuse, and event diversity, which covers representation among speakers at video game events, which I guess is to say that they want more minorities giving speeches, even if that means you're going to be bringing in the least qualified minority hire at your company to give a speech. And certainly that is where the SJW circular logic came from, almost certainly, is that you have a bunch of unqualified SJWs that get hired, and then they play the Oppression Olympics, and then they get the bully pulpit, quite literally, by giving speeches to promote the same ideas that are ridiculous and don't hold anywhere as much weight as they think they do. So it feels like, from my opinion, and this would just be my opinion, some of this seems like a good idea, and some of this seems like this is not going to be useful at all. And the IGDA, I imagine, has no actual policing authority on any of this. And I imagine if any company even began to get the hint of any pushback from the IGDA, the people would simply, the video game companies would just leave membership of it. Here even Gamasutra says, after all, by its own insistence, the IGDA is neither a trade union, a guild, or a trade organization. It seems like at one point it had the opportunity to try and unionize, is I guess what they're implying there. And that's where this would make a lot more sense, as if there was actual unions in the video game industry to cover a lot of topics as far as work conditions and pay and time off. And then you have probably governments need to make some small threats of regulations if the companies can't behave themselves, and I guess inherently capitalistic companies can't ever behave themselves, so probably should be some regulations, and some well thought out basic regulations I think most people would agree with. For instance, you shouldn't be allowed to sell an adult only game to a 2-year-old or a 5-year-old, even with their parents' permission. And most store fronts wouldn't do that if they knew it was going on, but yeah, some storefronts probably wouldn't care. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Magic the Gathering Arena Historic Anthology 3 adds 27 cards to historic play. So, yeah, new cards. Once we have 25,000 gold, I'll make an effort to get the 3rd anthology. Even though I probably will never actually get around to playing historic. Just seems like the right thing to do. The Plague Inc. / Rebel Inc. developer has a new campaign insurgent tactic combat network. So I think this is a campaign update that they're adding to Rebel Inc., which sounds interesting. Let's put that here, and then play this, and then play this, and then play this, and then play this, and then attack here. All I need is, let's see, 2 more cards, and I've won. See, next we have a game on Steam called Estranged Act 2, which I guess the easiest thing to do would be to find out if there was an Estranged Act 1 and how did that review and work. So let's look at this developer. When did Estranged Act 1 come out? This came out in 2014 and I already own it. So I guess then there's relevancy there. Put this on the follow list. Maybe we wait till it's reviewed. I don't know how I even got this game. It's selling for $4.79 right now, and it's English full audio with a whole bunch of other languages. That should be enough. I could go crazier, but I don't see a real reason to. Let's just win. It's called Estrangement Act 2 is a first-person adventure game with puzzle elements by its own description. Okay. It's the story of a fisherman stranded on a mysterious island during a violent storm. Okay. Next, we have a game on Steam called About Gretel, which seems like it's a Hansel and Gretel reference, although this doesn't look like any Gretel that's normally depicted. They say it's build, survive, and explore. Dangerous forest. Fight to survive against mysterious druids of the forest. Maybe it's not a Hansel and Gretel. Maybe it's just a different person named Gretel. Like, there could be more than one person named Gretel. Unfortunately, this does just kind of look like an asset flip survival game, though. Like, I like this screenshot, but look at the way her hair looks from the back. It's very ridiculous and pretty bad. This is $14.99, English only. I don't see a gameplay mechanic or story that synergizes with a gameplay mechanic here. And we get another card. We need 2 more cards. Let's go back to our deck and just see. We have a 3rd copy of this one, 1 copy of this one, and 2 copies of this one. And yeah, I could make several more copies of that if I wanted to. Let's get back to playing. We kind of broke the streak there for no good reason. We should just jump back into the game. Tech Raptor has an article. ITTA review. Ida. Hope amidst a flurry of bullets. It looks different. Does that mean it's good or does that mean it's bad? They gave it an 8.0. Ida's not a game-changing masterpiece, but it's a tight design and wonderfully crafted aesthetic in a world of hopeful and bullet hell. Pros are crisp, tight feel and control, haunting visuals that embody themes of despair and hope, adventurous soundtrack that also captures the major themes, not too hard and not too easy. Its only cons is the main quest is too short. This is a rather glowing review from what looks like a new writer too. Like, usually Tech Raptor does not allow their reviewers to get away with just putting 1 con. Usually it's 3 pros, 3 cons to summarize things. So either that game is really good or that writer has a very different writing style from what the other writers of Tech Raptor articles have been doing. Next we have a game on Steam called I, Dracula Genesis, which is tagged as having nudity. Interesting. Roguelike twin stick shooter with magic. Is there enough polish here? It's early access. It's $13.59. It's English full audio. I'll put it on the fall list, but there's a decent chance it doesn't make it off the fall list into the wish list. Gamma Sutra has this article. Magic Leap has withdrawn its conditional layoff notices after raising $350 million. So, they, a month ago, reportedly laid off 1,000 employees, and it seems like they're now saying come back to work, and I don't think you can really do that at a certain point, because there's a lot of ways that bad management and bad bosses try to jerk around people and try to screw them out of unemployment insurance and things that they'd rightfully deserve. If somebody could say we're laying you off, but now we're not laying you off, so you can't get unemployment, or you can't move on with your life and work at a different job. I mean, the company literally has already stabbed you in the back once. Why in the world would you want to go back to a company like that? So, So, yeah. I don't know why you would even write conditional layoff notices. Either you do it or you don't. You don't try to encourage people to quit. Which that feels like that's what they were trying to do, is encourage people to quit and not file for unemployment because they voluntarily left their job. It's literally, I think, it very well could be the legal definition of creating a hostile work environment, if there is a legal definition of creating a hostile work environment. That is super, super aggressive and hostile to say, we're conditionally laying you off. Moving on, we have a game on Steam here called In Existence Rebirth, which looks like it's a Metroidvania style game. It's a little pixely, but it looks decent enough, and so there might be enough quality here. It's $6.80, bunch of languages, so I'm gonna put it on the follow list and see if it gets enough reviews to prove that it's relevant. If it doesn't, then unfortunately there's kind of no reason to play this. I'm not even a big enough fan of Metroidvanias to justify doing it any other way. Alright, so we're gonna do the same thing we did before.
Your course will rise and shine.
Let's do this. Play. Kill. Resolve.
Waste not, want not.
Play. 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 Go and play that. So if this guy can even do 1 damage to me, I've lost.
Rise.
TechRaptor has a review for the game Maneater, which is the game where you play as a shark, or at least one of them. I think there's 2 or 3 that were in development. I don't know if this came out very good though. Yeah, 6.5. There's no game that makes you feel like a shark quite as well as Maneater, but a shoddy open world structure and repetitive missions makes it little more than a quick rush of adrenaline. And pros are truly captures shark gameplay, fun over-the-top upgrades, an expansive narrative by Chris Parnell. The cons are that it has an empty open world structure. It has maddeningly repetitive missions. And it has unremarkable boss fights. Black. Let's do this. Next. All attack. Here. We'll see what happens. Can I activate this ability? Why didn't I eat more food then if I could have eaten more food. Well, if he's not going to block anything, pretty much have won. Okay. How do we want to end this? Do we want to sacrifice this guy? Or sacrifice this guy? Let's just go ahead and sacrifice this guy. And go.
I've learned much from your death.
So yeah, shame Maneater did not turn out the way, turn out to be good. Okay. Have we done anything too bad? Nope. We pretty much won. Game of Sutra has an article here, From Pen and Paper to Blockouts, How Level Designers Craft Iconic Stealthy Encounters. This might be interesting if you're trying to create a stealth-based game, although I would say you probably shouldn't try to create a stealth-based game if it's the first game you've ever worked on, or if you're not working with a company that kind of knows what you're doing and helping you along. Yeah, you should be getting a lot of help from other people who have already done it. Next, we have a game on Steam called My Jigsaw Adventure, a lost story. So it's like the second or third Jigsaw game we've seen today, or this, yeah, today. $4.49 is a lot of money for a Jigsaw game. Bunch of languages. Yep. I think you probably could get a Jigsaw game for a real world Jigsaw puzzle for $4.39. Fairly easily. It's probably not super video game related, but Major Nelson, or Larry Herb, has his own little podcast, and they've decided to make it a video cast. So that's something, I guess. So what was the name of his podcast? The Major Nelson Video Podcast is what they're calling it. But I doubt that means he's really going to show a lot of video more than he's just probably trying to embrace Microsoft Teams and their video streaming service and support that team. Play that. And just keep on screwing with him, I guess. Or I could have just taken the victory. Would have been easier. Hey, it seems like if we can get one more victory, we get up to rank 1. That sounds nice. Hey, we might just get lucky. We might just get lucky. We're even high on the number of daily wins. And I'm trying as hard as I can to burn through all this news, and I think we might be able to get through all of it today. Game of Sutra has an article. Yeah, Amazon Games and Bandai Namco are bringing a free Pac-Man game to Twitch. That's interesting. It'll be playable directly through Twitch. So that is something that I think would bring more people to stay on Twitch longer. Unfortunately, there's all the other problems with Twitch. I also think it's probably worth mentioning that I heard an interesting conspiracy theory. I guess you can't call it anything other than that. That the controversial member who was just named amongst everyone else who I think was named for the Twitch, new Twitch, like, Creators Council or Guidance Safety, Trust and Safety Council, or whatever it's called. There was a conspiracy theory that she was picked specifically to get a bunch of people mad at her and yelling at her in such a way that she can just be the lightning rod of all hate for any action that ever happens by the Twitch Trust and Safety Council. So if, for instance, that council came and made a recommendation to Twitch to say disable chat was the real thing that she had suggested, is to actually just disable chat in total, which is a big, ridiculous suggestion. If they actually did that, then Twitch can say, yeah, that anybody who's against this is just attacking that lady personally, or that person personally. I don't even know if she identifies as a lady, and I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't. So in the same way that you had the 2016 Ghostbusters reboot, where they created this narrative that everybody who disliked the trailers for the Ghostbusters 2016 reboot were just misogynists, and they pushed that narrative over and over again. And if you really were to take what they're saying as true and proven, then really all that would prove is that I guess everybody was a misogynist, because nobody liked that movie. So they clearly didn't know the audience of human beings that they should have been targeting. So yeah, that was an interesting conspiracy theory. You can't really do anything with it. Twitch has had just this long-running problems, which is a shame, because when Twitch started to get big, it really had my hopes. I had hopes that it would be a real competitor to YouTube and make both Twitch and YouTube become better services, and it really didn't happen that way. And I also heard talk that Mixer is just a complete failure, but no big surprise there. If Mixer was going to succeed, they needed not to spend $100 million on one person, one big person like Ninja. They needed to have several exclusivity deals with a lot of big people, and I don't even know if that would have helped, because I don't know how much personality really matters, or the big celebrity streamers really matter. It would have been more interesting if Mixer offered a very approachable, reasonable goal for paying out small-time creators, something that Twitch and YouTube both don't really offer. Instead, they offer pretty pathetic minimums, and yeah, to be partnered on Twitch, you have to like stream constantly. It's ridiculous. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. Twitch Prime partners with SNK and brings many games to subscribers. So these are probably the Twitch Prime things. Just a bunch of King of Fighter games. I'll gladly take them since I already have an Amazon Prime account, but that's really all I'm doing, is just taking them almost out of spite, and I'll probably never remember that I even own them, let alone cover them, because I'd have to have those games on my Steam account to even remember they exist. Okay. Alright, well, this sucks. Let's do this. And then this. And this. So if I can get a second win here, this will be crazy. Do I want to block something and die? I think I kind of have to. Play this, bring back that. Okay. Let's see what this does, if we can survive. Here we have a game on Steam called Moonrun, which looks like it's a side-scrolling bombing game with pixel graphics. Oh, no, you're shooting up at things. Yep, it doesn't look interesting, but it's free, so I guess the price is right. English only.
The land bestows opportunity for those who are worthy.
Just pulled a bunch of land out. Pulled a huge amount of land. Can I survive? He's like counting his mana for some reason. Well, whatever he's doing, we have a game on Steam here called Shell Shock Live, which looks like it's a bunch of neon graphics and seems to be just kind of a basic Gorillas clone. $8.99, whole bunch of languages. Doesn't look interesting. So I'm just gonna resolve this. And he's gonna haul a bunch of cards. And this defeated that. Unfortunately for him. Seriously. We've won. All we've got to do is not ruin this. And I think we've won. Next. Everybody attack. And whatever he decides to block with. Okay. That lets me do that. Like I'm too short. If I was just a little bit shorter. If I just had a couple more characters. It seems like he might be trying to
will
play his
not
own
fail.
strategy and leaving me alone. I'd really like to win this, though.
Behold nature's true power.
I'd really like to win. But I don't see how I can do it. See, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Interesting. See, he's back up to 17. Well, he's beating me now. TechRaptor has an article here. Civ 6 has been announced as Epic's Games free game of the week. I'm gonna have to remember to install that. There probably have been some weeks where I have unintentionally forgotten to install the game of the week. Okay. And then we could activate this, but that won't help anything. TechRaptor has an article here. Pac-Man celebrates turning 40 with a new Pac-Man game and more. They'll never make a new Miss Pac-Man game. And any new Pac-Man game that they do make will probably be garbage. So, this is indestructible. And these are indestructible. So it doesn't matter what you block, you're still going to lose. So we're back down. We were so close. So close. One more game and then that'll probably be it. Gamato has an article here. The Summer Game Fest 2020 Developer Showcase is set for June 22nd and July 20th. That's two very different days. This is Double Fine, I think, promoting this. And there's be a whole bunch of Western game companies, it seems like, more than anything, showing off some indie games. Although Double Fine at this point isn't even a Double Fine. The Behemoth will be one of the companies, and they're the ones that made Castle Crashers, and I don't think they've made anything recently since then, so that's something of interest, I suppose. That's something new. Or maybe they'll have something new. Although, frankly, having just played Castle Crashers, I don't know if I'd really be impressed or want to play anything new from Behemoth, because Castle Crashers was not as good as it should have been. TechRaptor has an article here. Learn to fight with cute snakes in Serpent Showdown. This is an advertisement for a game that isn't out yet, I think. Snakes fighting each other. Might be an interesting idea, but probably not. We have a straight up troll game on Steam with just a bunch of memes all over it. Just like stolen art, stolen meme images. No way somebody has the copyright and license to all of this. Just a straight up Russian troll game for 59 cents. Would be my guess, at least, is that it's a Russian troll game. We haven't seen anything this blatant and this obvious on Steam for a while. So it does kind of feel like... what does this do? It does kind of feel like somebody is dropping the ball as far as quality control at Steam, and no surprise, really. Tech Raptor has an article here. Chill out with Monster Coffee Shop. Another hype article for a game that's not out yet. Next, we have a game on Steam called Family Man that is clearly an asset flip, low effort game. GTA clone, $17.99. That is really expensive. To English, allegedly full audio with a bunch of other languages. I guess we play this. I guess we're gonna win this the hard way. Tech Raptor has an article here. Federal court rules Switch Joy-Con claim must go to arbitration. Yep, that felt like that was where any of this was going to end up. This Joy-Con drift lawsuit will be dragged into court or through arbitration for a very long time, and in the end only lawyers will probably see any actual money for the whole effort. Next we have a game on Steam called Hex Terminate, which looks like a Space 4X style game or a space twin stick shooter game. It doesn't look particularly interesting or polished. It's $13.49. Apparently Windows wants to install an update. Usually it doesn't do that, but I guess I have been sitting for a long time on this update. So, I'm at a danger point now where Windows is going to try and force me to reboot. Well, Hex Terminate is English only and way too expensive. Go ahead and just resolve that. Not auto pass all the way. Tech Raptor has an article here. Pokemon Sword and Shield is sending out Galarian versions with hidden abilities of some Pokemon. Apparently. It's probably some kind of glitch or hacking going on, if I was to guess. Or maybe that's intentional. Seems like maybe it's intentional. People have pretty much forgotten about Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I guess Pokemon as a series is just kind of hit its peak, and now it won't ever be as big as it once was. Which is believable, certainly. Here we have a game on Steam called Virtual Presenter Pro, which looks like a VR game to make you feel like you're presenting a speech, but the animation looks terrible and ridiculous, and I don't think this would be particularly helpful. It's $11.99. It doesn't seem to actually require VR, and it's English only. Yeah, I think the old adage of just give your speech in the mirror is free in comparison, and probably just as good. Or give your speech in front of a group of friends might not be a bad idea. Or just give your speech to a general unresponsive audience, such as YouTube, might not be a bad idea. At least you won't get instant feedback of the negative variety. You'll have to wait until somebody sees it and puts a nasty comment at that point. Let's see. Moving on, Tech Raptor has an article. Risk of Rain 2 1.0 has been delayed to August. The dev is looking to expand the scope, which I think at that point you're basically confirming Risk of Rain 2 is in development hell, and the guy should have locked down the features a long time ago. You do that when you enter beta, not when you're delaying your game. There are, I suppose, a few rare occasions where it might logically make sense to expand the scope of a game, but normally not. I honestly don't think too many people would be upset if somebody came out and said, hey, I've got the sequel to my super popular game, but it's smaller and I know I should have made it bigger, and instead of working on delaying the sequel, I'm gonna just move on to the third game and make the third game a lot better. So just know going in that if you buy the second game in the series, you're helping fund the development of the third game, and you know that the second game is going to be a little bit smaller than I would have preferred. I think that kind of sincerity and honesty and straightforwardness might have more appeal than people seem to think it does, but I could be just naive, certainly. As a possibility, too. Let's go ahead and play this. And play this. Okay. Next. No attacks. In turn. TechRaptor has an article here. Steam's top releases for April 2020 were dominated by horror. Kind of weird to have a bunch of horror games selling well in April, but okay. Particularly this April. Let's see. So, In Zone, A World Apart. I guess Resident Evil 3 Remake makes sense. Adult game, I believe. Blush Blush, Fallout 76, Cardus, a World War II card game, Drug Dealer Simulator, Dragon Mark for Death, Warhammer 112 Operator, which I guess is a 911 operator for a different country, Aratus, Lord of the Dead, MotoGP, XCOM Chimera Squad, Tales of Mana, Hypercharge Unboxed, Gears Tactics, Moving Out, Streets of Rage 4, and Train Station Renovation. Most of those aren't horror. I don't understand why I would say that it was dominated by horror. Yeah. Like, the general idea, I guess, is that Resident Evil 3 dominated everything. Or the World War II game, I guess, is based on a horrific event, but that's quite the stretch. Yeah. And I would also argue that even though the Resident Evil 3 series is horror, it's really more of an action first-person shooter game, zombie game, in my book. It's not really trying to be that scary. At the end of that game, you're shooting a giant laser gun at an enemy. Yeah, I just cannot buy the idea that that's supposed to be a horrific game. Let's go ahead and sacrifice this. And if we can win this game, we should be done for today. Gamma Sutra has an article here. Italy announces a fund to support the country's game studios during the COVID-19 crisis. I'm going to leave it at that. I think we'll see a lot of countries doing things like that. And we probably will also see a lot of countries doing a lot of other things that are going to fall under either the positive or negative spectrum, depending on your opinion. So, yeah, that's what we wanted. And then this, and 1, 2, 3. Next, we have a game on Steam called Naturalia Forced Determination, which looks like it's a low-effort attempt at a Cuphead game, but boy does it not look good. $6.99 English only. It is different, I will give it that. It does look different, but it doesn't look good. There we go. Next, we have a game on Steam called As Adventurous do Crucella Strada, which sounds like a Spanish game and looks like a low-effort asset flip game that's like a parkour platformer that's really poorly programmed. It's early access. English is not supported. It's $9. It's 99 cents. Portuguese, Brazil only in the language. Oops. Made a mistake there. But maybe I didn't make a mistake actually. If I just get Bola Citadel, I think I can win here. But it is still slightly risky. Let's do it. Save the day, Bola Citadel. We've got it. Play this here. Play that there. And then activate Bola Citadel. Might as well do that just in case something goes wrong. So we're going to end on a high note. We're going to rank up to Gold Tier 1. We're going to come back to the main page, hopefully, and be shown that we're up another level and we have a new card and a new pack to open, some new packs. Yep, pretty much had all those cards already. You know, if anything, I've probably over-purchased cards, and now I'm just not reaping as much of a reward as I could. So a fourth copy of this, a third copy of this, fourth copy of this, second copy of this, fourth copy of this, and second copy of that. Not bad. And yeah, Gold Tier Rank 1, we have 8 days to try and make it to Platinum Tier. Platinum Tier will give us 3 packs, 1,000 gold, and 2 card styles, compared to 2 packs, 1,000 gold, and 1 card style. So, slight different outcome. As far as Bronze Tier 3, yeah, we're just going to get 1 pack for that. And that'll be the case with the drafts for a long time. Next, we have a game on Steam called Samurai Aces, which is a shoot-'em-up game. Looks like it might be an old shoot-'em-up game that is just being ported. Might be a very popular, famous one for all I know, but I'm not going to be playing any shoot-'em-up games. It's $8.99, quite expensive. English and Japanese. We have about 10 pages to power through, and then we will be done for today. Let's see. Next we have a game called Cannibal Cuisine, which I think is a player versus player, cook serve delicious style game. Is it Cook Serve Delicious, the game I'm thinking of, or Overcooked? I think I'm thinking of Overcooked. Yeah, this is $9.74. Looks like it's very multiplayer centric, so it's not really a game for me that I'd want to play or get a lot of gameplay out of. Next we have a game on Steam called Crucible that's already rated mixed, and apparently it's from Amazon Games, and apparently Amazon Games just threw out this free-to-play player versus player shooter and didn't announce it to anybody. Probably abandoned it if I was to guess. Let's see. Third-party DRM, free-to-play with a whole bunch of ways to buy founders packs, and it has Denuvo easy anti-cheat in it, not Denuvo anti-cheat, which by the way they are going to remove Denuvo anti-cheat from Doom. So going to be dead in a month is one review. Can't log in. Let's see. Crucible is Amazon's first released PC game. Yeah. Doesn't look like Crucible is very good. And I don't know if it really has any relevancy just because it's being published by Amazon Games, which, yeah, is, I guess, working on New World. Also, planned to be released August 25th. And we'll see like what New World is, if anybody even reports on it. Let's see. Next we have a game on Steam called Azeron Defense Alpha, which looks like a tower defense game. And yeah, it doesn't look terrible, but I'm not going to play a tower defense game. It's free, English only. Apparently it's a demo though, so it's not even a full game. Talk about a waste of time to play a demo of a tower defense game. Next we have a game on Steam called Out of Shapes, which looks like it's trying to be something like Fallout, or kind of like a 3D visual novel type game. No. $8.99. A derpy dialogue heavy RPG, English only. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that that's something I want to put on the fall list. Let's see. Next we have a game called Rally Trash Game, which looks like a trash game. Looks like a GTA top-down clone for 59 cents. English only. We'll not delve any deeper into that one. And then next we have a game on Steam called Pandemia World Outbreak, which looks like another low effort Plague Inc. clone, I guess is what you'd call it. Does seem to play with cards instead of just random events, but I don't know if that really makes it any better, and it certainly doesn't look good as a PC game. $2.39, English and Polish. Yeah, that looks too ugly. Here we have a game called WIP, which I only assume stands for Work in Progress. And it looks like garbage, and it doesn't support English. It's 99 cents. Apparently it's Japanese. Yeah, it looks really bad. Why would you pay $100 to list a game on Steam if it's a work in progress? Next, we have a game on Steam called Arena, which looks like it's a weirdly flat player versus player game, badly animated, though. Looks like MS Paint level graphics. It's free, so I guess the price is right. English only, but yeah, not worth anybody's time. 3 more games and then we'll be at the Humble Bundle store. Next we have a game on Steam called Brimstone Brawlers. Good name. Looks like it's a top-down twin-stick shooter game. It might be good enough, so I'll give it a follow. It's early access. It's $14.99. That's too expensive. English full audio. But yeah, after that long run of terrible games, nice to see at least something somewhat decent looking. Then we have a game called Death Cube, DETH. Looks like it's a shoot 'em up, twin stick shooter, Chinese or Japanese game, bullet hell elements. Looks way too dark and way too bland. It's early access for $3.99. At least it's a reasonable price, unlike many games. It's English and Chinese, so yeah, probably just a kind of bad Chinese game, but by bad Chinese game standards, it's actually not even that bad. And then finally we have a game called Super Circuit Breakers, which seems to be a turn-based, no, a twin-stick shooter. Man, a turn-based shooter, that would be weird. Somebody should make a turn-based shooter, like doing a duel in the Wild West. You take a shot, then I take a shot. This is free to play with a bunch of DLC to rise up the price. And it's English only. Yeah, it doesn't look interesting enough. And according to Gamma Sutra, Minecraft has sold over 200 million copies in 11 years. And we had already talked about that. That was something else. I was holding on to that number for a different reason, to make kind of a spectrum of the number of sales. And then that brings us to the Humble Indie Bundle, which the new game that was added seems to be the only game that's going to be added. So Humble Indie Bundle 21 is, if you pay over the average of now $5.96, you get Downwell. And it doesn't seem like anything else is going to unlock. And if I look at the other bundles, there's a Humble Bandai Namco Bundle 4 that would get you Enslaved Odyssey to the West, Pac-Man 256, Get Even, Hack.gu Last Recode, Katamari Democracy Reroll, and Rad. For the mid-tier, if you pay over $10.65. And if you pay $15 or more, you get Tekken 7 and Tales of Berseria. Actually, this is not a bad deal. If you want both of these games, you probably are going to end up paying $15 for even one of these games or more, and then getting a lot of these other games that aren't really that good would just be a bonus, I suppose. So not a bad deal if you want those two top tier things. If you don't want those two top tier things, then it's a pretty bad deal. And let's see if there's any other games bundles. It'd be a little weird if there was a third games bundle. Doesn't seem like there is. And then that brings me back to my Twitter feed, and I imagine we will find that there's no new news worth mentioning. So instead of even bothering to stream here and go through my Twitter feed, I will just talk about anything that happens over this weekend on Monday. That's going to be it for this stream. We're doing fairly good. Still need to get 8 wins somehow. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.